Hi everybody, my name is Jenny Nankivell. I am an intuitive healer, a spiritual mentor, and a registered nurse. I've been in nursing for about 10 years and have really been on my own spiritual journey and growth for about the last 18 months. And I've just really started combining what I do as a registered nurse and all of that sciencey stuff in with the energetic work, and it's been amazing, transformational, magical. So I'm going to talk to you guys about intuition and amplifying your intuition. I know 100% for a fact that all of you guys have this gift of intuition. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here. This is something that we all innately have within us. It's just something that we tend to get disconnected from, just from growing up, living life, being in society and school systems, at work, whatever, it may be. So it's really our responsibility to reconnect with our intuition and use that superpower to direct us in not only our businesses, but our lives. And for me, I feel like connecting with my intuition has made things so much easier for me. Not that entrepreneurship is easy, not that life is easy, right? None of that is easy. It's a very emotional roller coaster. However, connecting with my intuition kind of took the pressure off. So we know if you guys are promoting on social media, there are all of these algorithms and all these rules that you have to post at these times, post at these, so many posts a day, all of this stuff. But for me, connecting with my intuition makes me realize that I get to make my own rules and I get to do things when it feels good, and it takes a lot of that pressure off. Yeah, so let me know, how do you guys feel like you're connected with your intuition? Do you feel like the connection is strong, the channel is clear, or do you feel like this is something that you struggle with? So I'm gonna get into intuition and kind of the groundwork information. And then we'll talk about how you can strengthen your intuition. So what exactly is intuition? Intuition is a knowing. It's just this knowing that something is off, or maybe something is awesome, or something needs your attention. And your intuition is a really quiet voice. It rarely pushes to be heard and seen, and it's easily missed. So simply put, your intuition is your inner guide and your inner teacher. It's you, it's source, it's your higher self, all of that, it's all the same thing. So most intuition is so subtle that, like I said, we often miss it, but we see it in hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20. Oh, I should have known that. That was your intuition. Rachel says, I don't follow any of the rules anymore now that I am super connected with my intuition. Yes, I feel better. My clients are more amazing, and I'm booking more business than ever before. Yes, it feels good, doesn't it? Fuck the rules. Sorry. I'm working on not cussing so much. Okay. So, yeah, it mostly goes missed, and we recognize it in hindsight. So the goal here is to begin listening to the intuition, to not miss it, so that we can really tap into it in the moment instead of tapping into it after the event has already passed. So the way that we can be in the moment with our intuition is to remember a really important rule, and that is intuition is not thought awareness, it's sensory awareness. Intuition comes from the body, not the mind. So when we get out of our head and begin to listen to our body, listen to our gut, those senses can tell us what things that we really need to be paying attention to. Listening to your body, connecting, embodying yourself is the key to be connected to your intuition. Hi, Anna. So intuition is also a psychological process. Our brain uses past experiences and cues from ourselves, from our environment, from all of the things around us to make decisions, right? This stuff happens so quickly we don't even realize it's happening. And it doesn't really connect on a conscious level. So our human brain, and this is the nurse part of me, has two operating systems. The first one is the quick, instinctual, effortless operating system, and that's where our intuition lies. And that works by drawing on the patterns collected by our experiences, and that's where we can make decisions about what's real, what's not real, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what's right and what's wrong. All of that stuff is in this first operating system. The second operating system of our brain is slower to respond and more analytical and deliberate, and that's the conscious part of our brain. So our intuition is in that quick, effortless, not thinking, not analytical part, right? And like I said, intuition exists in all of us. It's innately within us, but whether we acknowledge it or not is up to us. So the more that we can learn about our intuition and understand it, the more that we can use it to shape our lives and our businesses for the better. So I'm going to talk about fifth and sixth sensory human. As we're developing our intuition, we want to move more into the sixth sensory. I can never say it right. So we're going to separate the two and see where we lay. So the fifth sensory human, this is what most people are, where most people live. This is the person that perceives the world through the ego brain. This is the person that lives with a sense of fear. They're worried about pleasing the people around them. And they view the world as you versus me. We both can't be at the top. There's always got to be one above the other. The fifth sensory person second guesses themselves a lot. They're not living their authentic self. They're not living their authenticity. And they often feel isolated and disconnected. That's where most of us are. Well, most of the collective is. Most of us here are sixth sensory because we've already started doing the inner work to kind of transcend that stuff, right? So as a sixth sensory human, we've reactivated our intuition. We begin to understand ourselves and understand that we are more than our ego. We have an expanded awareness and ability for creativity. We're really connected with ourselves and with others and the world, just physically and spiritually. We understand that there's this oneness. And we understand that our authentic self is spirit. So our goal is to become more of the sixth sensory person, right? Expand that sixth sensory capability. And in doing so, we become more creative, we become more productive, we have better intuitive healing capabilities. All of us have, we're intuitive, you're all healers also. We have less fear and stress. Our focus changes from the problem. So instead of focusing on just the problem, we're able to focus on more of the solutions. We have better synchronicity and flow, and our vibrations rise. And when our vibrations rise, that's when we become a magnet and an energetic match for all of that which we are calling in, right? So we are able to attract more positive people, situations, opportunities, clients, business ideas, all of the things. So the more that you can work on yourself and follow that powerful spirit inside of you, the stronger your magnetism will be. And your intuition always knows what's right. It knows how to guide you to the right direction, and all you have to do now is listen. Rachel says, I am a nutritionist and have thrown out so much of my traditional teaching to follow my intuition. Yeah, it was scary, but the best thing I've ever done with my business. Yeah, for sure. And a lot of us, I know for me personally, I've had a lot of trauma growing up and just in my adulthood. I'm 32, so basically 30 years of trauma. And I got really disconnected with my intuition because I lost a trust with myself. So now after doing the healing work, I've been able to recognize oh, this is my intuition, but it didn't feel safe to trust it because in the past, maybe trusting my intuition, not that it ever led me wrong, but the situations that I was in kind of gave me an outcome that didn't feel good to me, that wasn't necessarily right. But so I just kind of learned not to trust myself. And I feel like for me, the biggest struggle with reconnecting with my intuition is losing that sense of self-trust. So doing the inner work is 100% necessary because we have to be able to trust ourselves. And we're going to get into how to tap in, which we're going into right now. So my number one, I don't know if I put these in order. These aren't in any specific order. But number one is trust your gut feeling. Back to the science stuff. Research shows or suggests that emotions and intuition has a physical presence in the gut, which is funny because if you think about it, your solar plexus is in the gut. That's where our power is. And our solar plexus really works with our third eye to root in the intuitive energy of the upper chakras into our lower chakras so that we can have it in this three-dimensional world. So like trusting that gut feeling, the butterflies in your gut, that is your intuition. So our gut is lined with a network of neurons that is often referred to as the second brain. Have any of you guys heard about this? We've got our brain, and then our gut is our second brain. The nervous system that is here is known as our enteric nervous system, and it contains about 100 million neurons. Susanna says, I have found that doing dream work has really fired up my intuition. Yes. So we have the second brain in our gut, and this is why you may notice that you get like sick to your stomach about having to make a certain decision, or like you made a bad decision and you just like don't feel good in your stomach, or something really excites you. For me, I know like this is something that I need to do because I'll get this like exciting butterfly feeling in my stomach, solar plexus, second brain, right? So listen to your body, trust your gut. That is your intuition. Does it feel good or does it not feel good? Let that guide you. Number 2 for connecting to your intuition is feeling. Again, intuition comes from the body and not the mind. So we talked about having those gut feelings, but maybe you have like goosebumps or a shiver runs down your spine, or all of a sudden you notice your heart rate has quickened or your breathing became more shallow. All of these things are subtle signs that our body is giving us like a knowing of like what's to come. So really being connected with your body is key here. Oftentimes, I know for me, I've never really wanted to be in my body because it like hurt to be in my body. I've had a lot of depression and anxiety, but through doing the work, I'm able to connect with my body and then notice, oh, okay, I'm holding my breath. Okay, my heart's quickening, or, you know, all of these things that can kind of show me, this doesn't feel right, or yes, this does feel right. So you'll feel when something is right, it's gonna feel really clear, it's gonna feel really nourishing and enriching, and when something feels off, you're gonna feel icky, you're gonna feel static or stagnant, you're gonna feel like an ache or like just this pit in your stomach. So get used to these feelings, check in with your body. Something that I like to do, especially in the beginning when you're like trying to see what the signs in your body is like when you're at a red light, like check in with your body. How do I feel? Where do I have tension? How's my stomach feeling? What is my breathing like? Just getting used to signs from your body so that you can really listen to it. Number 3 is release negative feelings. Negative feelings will cloud your intuition. So I'm not saying don't feel your feelings. Absolutely, you want to feel through the feelings, but work through them, heal through them, and release them so that you can really create space for your intuition to be heard. And doing this work is going to make your intuitive choices a lot easier. You're going to be more clear and have higher vibration emotions, which again makes you more of a magnet to call in all of the things that you were calling in. Number 4 is practice saying no. When we aren't accustomed to saying no, it can be really difficult to notice when our intuition is trying to speak to us or when it's advising us against something. So ignoring your intuition when it's trying to tell you like, oh girl, like maybe you should think about this before you commit, whatever it is, that's conditioning you to not trust yourself. Again, we really have to trust ourselves if we're going to listen to our intuition. So if you've had a situation, okay, let's say you're like dating this boy and your intuition's like, oh, like I feel like there's red flags, but you ignore it and then you get your heart broken later. Like you're conditioning yourself to be like, oh, I have this body response, but I'm going to ignore it. So it's almost like a muscle. Like the more you practice and work with it, the stronger it's going to get, the more clear it's going to get. So practice saying no and walking away from any undesirable situations that don't feel good to you. And this is going to help you strengthen your ability to intuitively recognize when something or someone isn't serving you and to act accordingly. This sounds really easy to do, like when you're like, okay, practice saying no, but this can be really hard work. As we're on our spiritual journey, we often release things that aren't serving us, and sometimes those are people, stories, whatever, and it requires us to have really difficult conversations sometimes, and we can't just ignore it, because the longer that we ignore it, the more we're conditioning our body to be like, okay, this relationship doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't feel good in my body, but I'm going to avoid, like, it's like, which discomfort do you want to be in the most? Do you want to be in the discomfort of ignoring your intuition, or do you want to have the hard conversation and release yourself from that situation? Does that make sense? Part of practice saying no is being really picky about who you hang around with. So again, having the difficult conversations, releasing things that aren't serving you, people that aren't serving you, because all of that is going to cloud your intuition. People who drain your energy are just adding to the noise of the world around us. And the more noise there is, the less space there is for us to hear that quiet, loving, intuitive voice. So make sure make sure you are surrounding yourself with people who enrich and empower you, and walk away from those that are draining you. And if you're not able to separate yourself from the people who are draining you, empower yourself by making the decision to say. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I can't ditch Aunt Susie because whatever, she's my mom's sister, shift it around, reframe it. You're choosing to stay in this relationship because, it's your mom's sister. So it's just a subtle shift in language can take your power back. So instead of like, I have to love Aunt Susie, I'm choosing to love Aunt Susie. Do you see how that kind of shifts it? So be really picky about who you are surrounding yourself with. Number 5 is quiet the mind and meditation. So we have so many distractions around us between our cell phones, Facebook, Instagram, the news, media, text messages, emails. There's so much coming in, and we're taught from a really young age that what we feel and think is wrong. So we have all of this sensory information, and we're conditioned to distrust ourselves. So quiet it all down. Really be picky about what are you filtering into your life? What books are you reading? What music are you reading? What are you watching on TV? Quiet as much noise as you can. Maybe take like a weekend where you're not on social media. It's quieting that sensory input, and then quieting your mind too with a meditation. So even if you're just meditating for 5 minutes a day, that's going to be like super powerful to shift you into your intuition. Susanna says, haha, I'm an Aunt Susie, but I totally get you because my stepdaughter is my spiritual lesson right now. Oh my gosh, yeah, kids are very good teachers. It's not letting me see the rest of your comment. Oh, and I cannot run away from it. Yeah, so like just shifting that and thanking her, like, thank you so much for the lessons you were giving me. That's so funny, Aunt Susie. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, we have to get quiet enough and to not be distracted by the outside influences to release our self-doubt. So when I get in a state where I am not trusting myself, because my connection with my intuition waxes and wanes. Sometimes I'm so dropped in, I'm so embodied, and I'm like, yes, I got this. And then sometimes I get in an anxiety funk where I'm like, oh shit, no, I don't got this. And when I get into that anxiety where I'm like, oh my God, and the number one thing for me is like, I start seeking for answers outside of me. I'm like Googling, how do I do this with my business? Or I'm like asking, I work with, mentors and stuff, and I'm asking like, okay, I need to find the answer out here. That's when I know that I'm disconnected and I need to quiet all of the other shit, shut it down, tune in, quiet meditation, silence, releasing all of that. So that my intuition has a chance to be heard, so I can really connect with my body and what it really is trying to tell me instead of what everyone else is trying to tell me. The next thing I have for strengthening your intuition is begin to wonder more. So wondering shifts your brain out of the thinking analytical mode. Wondering opens you up to something new, and it helps you be more open and curious, and being in that state allows that intuition to be heard more. Wondering is also going to help you expand your energy and open you up to new information that's going to help change you from the inside out. So again, like tuning in, just wondering. I feel like it releases the restrictions that we tend to put on the universe or on the messages that we're asking for. Wondering just takes us out of the bubble and like expands it all. So those are my tips for intuition. Another thing that I think I would add that I didn't put on here would be to journal. And sometimes journaling can feel like a chore. But for me, journaling really, one, allows me to really look at my shit. So I'll think that I'm looking at my shit and that I'm working through it, but I'm not actually taking the time, like carving out the time to look at it. In writing, my mind slows down and there's more opportunity for that intuitive voice to be heard because this isn't running so fast, because it takes time to write the words. So that allows me to process my feelings. It allows feelings to come up that maybe I didn't realize were there, so that I can process and release them and clear space to be more intuitive. Not only that, it allows the intuition to come out also. I find that I channel a lot when I am journaling. So journaling after meditating, especially if I'll do like my 5 minutes or whatever meditation I'm doing, and then begin to journal about my experience. I'll often channel messages for myself, and I'll like write in a third person, like you are almost like someone else is speaking through me, to me. It's kind of weird. So journaling, and it doesn't have to look extravagant. I will literally carry my journal around with me and like just write things in it all day, like a sentence here and there, or something that I'm wondering about, an idea that popped into my head. That really kind of unlocks this like door to your intuition and to your inner guide. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what practices you guys use to connect with your intuition. How is your relationship with your intuition? Do you feel like it's solid? Is it something that you move in and out of? How is your trust with yourself? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. So, either send me a friend request or connect with me on Instagram. I would love to be your spiritual reading buddy. We all need like a good soul tribe behind us as we're moving through this stuff. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here with you. It was such an honor. Michelle says definitely move in and out, but more in these days. That's amazing. You've been doing the work, you're more in, and definitely be graceful with yourself. I was really hard on myself because I was like, I don't trust myself. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's just all part of the journey. So I love you guys. Let me know how things are going. Let me know how I can support you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.